guest is Michelle Cox.
How many summers do you have left, and what are you going to do with them?
Live your faith and pass it on. Share the gospel clear and strong. Stand for, claim your heritage of truth.
Welcome to Heritage of Truth. Today my guest is Michelle Cox. Welcome, Michelle.
Glad to be here with you.
Now, she is one of the two authors of a book called Just 18 Summers. It's a novel, but it was birthed out of a whole ministry that you have called Just 18 Summers.
Well, let me tell you how it started.
Okay.
My pastor had dedicated a baby at church one Sunday, and as the parents turned to leave the platform, he said, "Don't forget you have just 18 summers. Go make some memories."
Mm-hmm.
And I was counting the offering back in one of the back rooms that Sunday, and I'm going, because my youngest was getting married a few weeks later.
Oh, wow.
And so it was especially poignant for me. And I came up with the idea to do a gift book, but God had much bigger plans. We're currently developing a complete brand based around the concept. We've launched with a parenting blog at just18summers.com. We have a staff of 18 writers. And we have everything from home decor and recipes and fun craft activities to object lessons and devotionals and fun stories that you can read with your kids. Runs every Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've launched with the novel from Tyndale in April, and just really want to encourage parents to slow down and enjoy the moments, because 18 years sounds like a long time, but you really have just 18 summers, and you can't go back and rewind yesterday.
It goes so fast.
It does. It really does.
It goes so fast. I cannot believe I have a granddaughter who's already 8. I mean, to me, she's still a baby.
And it seems like the grandchildren grow faster than the kids did.
Yeah, somehow when you get older, time seems to go faster.
We won't go there today.
So tell us about the novel.
Well, it covers the lives of 4 families. The first family, Tippy and Daphne, are expecting their first baby. They've done all the research. They've read all the books. They have become the experts. And she liberally tells everyone how to raise their children, and then their baby arrives. And they might not have learned everything. The second family is the Andersons. Their son's just graduated from high school, and they're still misty-eyed about that when their daughter informs them she's just become engaged to the pizza delivery guy. Her mom immediately panics and begins making a list of all the things she hasn't taught her daughter. Mm-hmm. And the dad begins making a list of all the ways they can cram a lifetime of memories into one last summer together. Mm. And then there's the affluent family that's overscheduled. They have their kids and everything, and yet all the kids really wants to spend time with their parents. And when a Donald Trump type billionaire shares what he learned from his son and being gone from his son, and says, you just have 18 summers, slow down and make some memories and enjoy the moments, and tells how he missed teaching his son to tie his shoe and all the moments, it falls on deaf ears, or does it? Mm-hmm. And then the last family is Butch and Ava. The wife, Jenny, has just passed away, and suddenly he's left with this little girl with whom he hasn't been close. And it follows their journey of learning to be father and daughter together. And she's a charmer. Her dad owns a construction company, and she charms every guy out on the site and gets her whole church involved in a project to build a home for a homeless family. And so all of them have one thing in common. They each have 18 summers. And that's my question for all the parents who will read the book and that hear our words today, is how many summers do you have left, and what are you going to do with them?
Mm-hmm. Boy, isn't that true? Wow. How can parents be more intentional about spending time with their children?
The impromptu moments are great, but we make doctor's appointments, we make appointments to have our car serviced. Why not make appointments and schedule time to spend together as a family? Mm-hmm. And every year as the new year starts, that's the first thing I do. I mark out the time for our family trips and times that I know that we'll make that the priority, and then everything else falls into place after that. So make some appointments, schedule the time, and then keep your appointments, because it's so important. So many studies have been done and shows that just simple things like sitting around together around the family table can make such a huge difference in not only how our kids learn and how they bond as a family, but also in avoiding substance abuse and problems down the line. So those times are crucial for families. And as far as things to do, Pinterest has many wonderful ideas. Our blog at just18summers.com has a wealth of information and fun craft projects and games that families can do together.
Do you all have a Pinterest site?
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
So you give some
We
ideas there.
post the things there as well. But just to encourage families to look for the little ways, if their children are older, sit down with them, find out what they'd like to do. The main thing is just to make the memories. And a lot of times people think those have to be expensive or big things, but those aren't the things that are really important. A lot of times the little moments make the big memories. And I remember so many things in my children's growing up years that we did that were big things. But there was one instance that really brought that home to me. Our middle son brought home all of his papers from high school at the end of one year, and I found one that the assignment had evidently been for them to write about their most vivid childhood memory. And Tim wrote about a trip to the circus, but it wasn't actually about the circus. I had bought the tickets before the boys got home from school, and I went home and I put together a scavenger hunt and hid clues all over the house so they could find the circus tickets.
How fun.
And, ironically, I don't remember one thing about the circus that year, but I remember my boys laughing and running from room to room. And that was Tim's most vivid memory. Not the circus that cost so much, but the little scavenger hunt that was fun at home. And so parents never know what memory is going to stick in their child's minds, but the important thing is to make those memories.
Absolutely. Well, my daughter and son-in-law recently decided they were going to have a staycation instead of a vacation.
And that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And just find some fun things to do at home.
Right at home and around town, and they've had a wonderful time.
And the main thing is just to spend time together.
Yeah.
And sometimes just sitting around the family dinner table talking or playing games is just a great opportunity to bond. And those memories that you make when your children are young those are the things that will be the super glue that'll hold your family together when your children are gone and away from home.
One of the things our daughter has mentioned that she appreciated while she was growing up is we always read together as a family from the time she was very young.
Absolutely.
All the way through college. She would come home and we would be reading a novel as a family together, and so every night we'd read a chapter or two. And that was so much fun for us. And then we'd talk about it and wonder what the characters were going to do next.
And I'm sure they have wonderful memories of that and are probably carrying that on with their own children.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have some other ideas you can give to the families that they can do maybe at bedtime?
Well, we always had a routine in the evenings, winding down after the busyness of the day. But obviously to spend time tucking them into bed, but then those times of praying together before they go to bed and just spending that time together, even when they're teenagers, is so vastly important. I would give $1 million to walk down the hall one more time and find my boys sleeping in their bed and to be able to do that. So moms and dads, if you're still have children at home, slow down and enjoy those moments, because listening to their prayers is one of the sweetest things you'll get to do. And the communication that you build and the channels that you do with that carries over into so many aspects of their lives. I know with my youngest son, Jason, I work late at night, and so it's quiet, and I get in my office and work, and most of the time after he'd come home from a date or an evening out with his friends, he would come and sit in my office and sometimes talk for a couple of hours. And
precious time.
Precious times, and times when we talked about his girlfriends and why he wasn't dating certain girls, and about life and his future, and priceless times for both of us. And in the letter that he wrote me when he was getting married, that's the thing he said he would miss the most.
Oh, how sweet. How wonderful. So many parents today feel like they have to have their children involved in all kinds of sports and music and dance and everything that's available to them. How do you feel about that when there are only 18 summers?
We really tried to find balance in our family. Our children were involved in sports. Church was their priority because that was the best environment for them to be in, and we always made that, the number one choice. But we really tried to find balance in that to make sure that we still had plenty of family time. The family trips are wonderful because everybody's in one car or one environment, and you really have a chance to bond in a special way. But we really made sure that we had evenings and weekends and stuff where we could spend real quality time together.
That's good.
As a family.
And you had meals together.
We did. We
Yeah.
still do.
That's good.
And sometimes the conversations that come out of those days of sitting around the dinner table are unforgettable.
In many ways, probably.
In many ways.
In many ways. Well, where can people find you online again?
We're at just18summers.com.
The number 18?
Either way, we have the domains
Okay.
for both of them, but just 18, the numerals, is what most people use. But either way, we'll get to our
Okay,
website.
That sounds good. And is there any last word you'd like to say to the viewers before you go?
Well, 18 years sounds like a long time, but you really do have just 18 summers. Slow down, enjoy the moments. God's given you this most precious gift, and you only have it for a season. So don't miss the moments because you can't go back and rewind yesterday.
That's right. Well, thank you again, Michelle,
Thanks for
coming
having
and
me
being
with
on our
you.
show.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Share